Ready to shine inside out? Welcome to Polished Beauty Podcast, where ambition meets empowerment. We talk business, beauty, brain, body. I am your host, Dr. Daisy Aim, triple board certified cosmetic surgeon and OBGYN. Let's get polished. All right, everyone. This episode is dear and close to my heart, and I've been meaning to record this and dive into it. In today's world, women are achieving great success. They are scaling the ladder professionally, their career is soaring, they're achieving some amazing goals, right? And along the way, they ask themselves, what about starting a family? And if that question is asked at the right time or in a critical time frame, something can be done. But oftentimes when that question really gets into women, they are getting out of that fertility window, right? So it becomes kind of like a concern. So, for many women in their 30s and beyond who aren't in a relationship or who are childless and desire to have a kid, egg freezing is an option, and it's a hot topic. We are going to truly look into it. Is it the safety net that it promises women to be? Egg freezing, that is. Is it a safety net for you? Is it a bank that's guaranteed that when it's that time, you reach into that bank and harvest your egg to fertilize it with a sperm and get your baby? Is it a guarantee? Let's unpack this topic and really get deep into it. Along the way, as I talk about egg freezing, I'm going to correlate it with my personal journey. Yes, you heard that correctly. Dr. Daisy Aim froze her eggs about 10 years ago. That's a decade ago. I was 37 years old when I embarked on that journey. So when I talk about this topic, I'm going to use myself for some references and to give you some anecdotal story, but still stay factual, okay? And obviously, being an OBGYN, I have seen countless women that I recommended egg freezing that have gone through the journey and have come out the other side, whether it's choosing to follow through and become a mother or forgetting about that journey. So it's something that I have so much knowledge about, and I wanted to just bring that to you. So why is egg freezing becoming mainstream? Why? There are a couple of things to keep that in mind. Number one, women are prioritizing career and personal growth. So egg freezing is a nice alternative option to prolong fertility. Unlike men, women have a shorter window of when to become a parent. So egg freezing is popular for that. Number two, many women are not in a committed relationships during the peak fertility years. That's right. And they are not in a committed relationship or in a stable relationship where they could start a family. So egg freezing is an alternative option for them. Another reason why it's becoming a mainstream is the cultural shifts, meaning that there are a lot of conversations that are being had now about egg freezing. So women or society as a whole is open to the idea, and it's something that is well received and talked about. And you have companies that are sponsoring or covering this in health plan, some insurance, and then some other companies are not. So basically, it's just a mainstream conversation now. So women are really looking to egg freezing. And lastly, is technology improvements. Things have changed that has made egg freezing a doable and a viable option for women. So it's becoming mainstream. And let's not forget the celebrity buzz. We have heard one or two or three, even four or more celebrities talk about using egg freezing method to start a family. So that's something that is being normalized from celebrity media standpoint down to your everyday household. So it is here to stay, and it's an option for women. Well, according to research published in Yale, according to Yale study, 82% of women who freeze their eggs do so because they are single. That's the one reason why women freeze their eggs. They're single, they don't have a partner, so they just want to preserve that opportunity to start a family. And there's nothing wrong with that. Most women that do this, they want biological children. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's not to say that being an adoptive mother or a stepmom or having a non-biological child is not motherhood. It's just that these women, they feel very strongly that if they were going to be a parent, having their own eggs, it's the way for them to start a family. However, the statistics get really interesting because of that many percentage of women that freezes their eggs due to being single, only 16% return to use those frozen eggs to actually have a child. And this is according to the Journal of Assisted Reproduction and Genetics. 16%, guys. That is not very high. The question we have to ask ourselves is why? Why is it that 16% only of the 82% of women that freeze their eggs actually use it? Here's a theory. Maybe they found a partner and they became pregnant and no longer need the eggs. Maybe they changed their mind. They don't want to be a mother anymore. Or maybe they decided to become a mother in another form, as I mentioned. So that's very interesting that only 16% come to use it, you know? But let's dive down into the 16% that actually go through using the eggs. What is the outcome? So follow me on this. I'm going to throw a lot of numbers in this conversation right now, but I need for you to pay attention. So of the 16% of women who return to their frozen eggs to use it, 74% egg survival rate after thawing. So when the egg is thawed to be used, 74% survival rate. It's not an A plus, but it's a passing score. All right. Of that 74%, 67% fertilization rate. So when it's thawed and is used to fertilize, there's only 67% fertilization rate. Of that, 8% of pregnancy rate per embryo transfer. So when the embryo is transferred to that woman, there's a 48% pregnancy rate. Of that, there's only 35% birth rate per embryo transfer. I know I use the word only with this percentage. That's not to discourage any woman from pursuing this, obviously. But I think when you look at the data, you see that it's not as high as it would appear given the media craze and buzz about egg freezing. So it's good to keep that in mind that egg freezing is an option for you. However, if you can do without it, go ahead to do that. This is where I would say that in my private practice, for the longest time, anytime I have a new patient or woman that comes into my office and she's over 30, unmarried or married, but childless, I made it my business to have a conversation with her about egg freezing, educate her about that option so that if later in life she's unable to conceive because she's missed her fertility window, she doesn't have a regret of like no one told her about egg freezing. So as I really took that on as my job as a gynecologist to bring this conversation to every woman, immediate thought process. If she declines it, it's okay. If she goes forward, that's great. But I just felt that I needed to be the, advocate on that subject. It's important to understand that freezing your egg doesn't guarantee a baby, but it does provide options. And that in itself offers emotional and psychological reassurances for many women. So I'm going to digress a little right now, okay? I froze my eggs when I was 37. That's about 10 years ago. I was already a mother. I was married, divorced, and I really wanted to have about five kids, really. And that's no joke. And because I knew I wanted to have many children, and here I was divorced, around 37, I decided to freeze my eggs. And when I went through the process the first time with my endocrinologist and infertility doctor, I went through the entire process of self-injecting myself with those medications and get to the point where she could harvest the eggs. And she only got, I think, about 8 eggs, right? And I was like, "Oh, that's enough. I'm not doing this." And I will share this conversation with you guys. My doctor at that time was like, Daisy, I recommend that you do another round because I always tell my patients to try to get double digits when it comes to egg freezing because it just increases your chances of having success when that time comes. I did not have the time because I was a busy OBGYN doctor. I had the money and the resources, but I just didn't have the time. But I am really appreciative that my doctor said that to me and it resonated with me when I was driving home. So I thought, okay, you know what? I'm gonna go for round two. I dreaded injecting myself with those, medications, but it was something that I really felt strongly about it. That if I was to be a mom again, I definitely wanted to have biological children. So I went through that second round and I had a total of 9 eggs. So in total, I have 17 eggs frozen and stored in someone's freezer somewhere. And I pay storage fee on this yearly. Let me come back into this conversation. The reason why I'm very transparent with this, with my story on the podcast, is that I never want any woman to feel like they are alone in this journey. I'm very open and candid with this. If you're a patient of mine, you've probably have heard me talked about this when I tell you about egg freezing. I even say, hey, I've done it myself. Here's my doctor's information. Go to her. I'm very open with that and transparent because I think it's a great tool and resources for women to utilize. So let me be the advocate and let me be the voice and let me be the poster child for this in my practice. So I've gone through giving you all the statistics about egg freezing and the outcome, right? It doesn't seem encouraging, but it's meaningful. So another thing to keep in mind with egg freezing is the egg quality and the egg quantity, which declines with age. So if you're going to do egg freezing, you really want to do it in your 20s if you can, or your early 30s. Anything above 35, 37, you are decreasing the quality and the quantity of egg that will be retrieved for you. So keep that in mind. If you're not financially ready and you think you'll be ready later on, understand that that readiness may come with less egg being retrieved and the quality of the egg. So studies have shown that 8.2% of frozen eggs from women under 36 result in live birth. And also, studies have shown that 3.3% of women age 36 to 39 do, in fact, have live birth. So the older you are, the chances of live birth decreases. So that's something to keep in mind. The takeaway home or the takeaway message is freeze your eggs when you're young, guys. Do it in your 20s if you can afford it. If you cannot, think twice about purchases and try to steer some funds in that department. You have a better chance with that. But many women still don't pursue fertility or egg freezing until late 30s or mid 30s. And that's understandable because at that point they have a higher disposable income. So it's okay. All right. So let's break down the cost of egg freezing. How much is that going to cost? If you're fortunate, your insurance plan covers it, then it's $0, or you may have to pay just for the medication, which is a couple of thousand. But if you don't have insurance coverage, you should plan for anywhere from, I would say, 5,000, which is a very low ball amount, to about 15, 20,000. So it can range you that much to go through one cycle of egg freezing, and one cycle constitute the medication, the office visit, and the egg retriever. So you should plan for easily came really if you want to do this. Alrighty. And for medications, usually it's 3 to 1,000 of that 50K. And remember, storage fee. So once the eggs is retrieved, it has to be stored in a bank. And so you do pay storage fees, and that's a yearly accruing charge. For mine, I believe it's like $700 now. It used to be $500, and then it went up to $600. Currently, $700. My eggs have been frozen for 10 years. I'm now 47, and yeah, it's been 10 years since I have my eggs frozen. And what is the plan with that? Guys, that's for another conversation in this podcast. But for right now, it's something that I am happy I did for myself. And it has given me the much security and calm and ease as I climb the ladder in age and not feeling pressured to make hasty decisions because of fertility or childbearing window. That's why I personally recommend egg freezing to my patients, okay? And anyone that's watching or listening to this podcast. Is egg freezing empowering or misleading? That's something that I grapple with. And when I think about egg freezing, all right? Empowering. How is it empowering? Well, it gives women time, space, and control over their reproductive future. And that's something that really gives that woman a peace of mind. So it's empowering. The potential misleading aspect of egg freezing is that it can give a false sense of security if not done early enough or without understanding the real success rate. I have just gone through giving you some percentages when it comes to egg freezing. So when you approach it, it's good to understand the totality of it. It's not a guarantee 100% stamp, but it's also a good emotional stamp that you gave it your best shot, right? When that time comes. So I overall think that women that freezes their eggs are much happier, even though they may have a poor outcome with it. They're happier that they attempted to preserve fertility as opposed to not trying. So for whatever it's worth, that thought of trying is very powerful. That thought of doing something to give yourself an opportunity later on is very powerful. There's value in investing in that perspective for yourself. Okay. So egg freezing is not guaranteed. It is a modern option for women now in their toolkit of fertility and family planning. The key is understanding the science, the limitations, and your own personal goals with the egg freezing. Whether it's a backup plan or your primary path plan to motherhood, it's your body, it's your choice, it's your future. You get to decide how you want to utilize your egg freezing or your frozen eggs for yourself. So it's your choice, okay? Really important for you guys to talk to your doctor, talk to your gynecologist, ask questions. I mean, I'm here and available as a gynecologist. You can email my practice or call if you have questions, and I can certainly direct you to who I think may be a great fertility doctor for you if that's something you desire. Egg freezing is a hot topic, it's the buzz, and I am for it for the record, despite all the statistics. I have personally done it, and it was a very interesting journey. I did it twice. Although I was already a mother, I just felt like if I'm going to be a mom again, I wanted to use my own eggs, and that's why I did it. And do I have plans of using it? Yes, in the near future. I joke with my circle of friends, which is very small. I said, if I decide to be a mommy at 75, it's my choice, it's my prerogative, and I will do just that. Doesn't mean that I'm going to do it. I don't know, but I enjoy having that thought and being able to vocalize that I can be a mother anytime nature sees fit for me when I have the elements necessary to have more kids. So for all women out there that are considering egg freezing, please do it. You will not regret it. I think it's an investment worth trying for yourself. Okay? I hope you enjoyed this episode and thank you for listening. Video recording of this episode will be featured on our YouTube channel, Dr. Daisy Ayim. We are also found on Instagram at Polish Beauty Podcast or at Dr. Daisy Ayim. Remember, new episode drop every Wednesday, so stay tuned. Please like, share, follow.